Good evening, it's Kuro. Got a ranked game in my Mogador. Going over the matchmaking. The enemy team has a Pommern, Lipitano, Amagi, Alaska, Siegfried, Mogami, and Fletcher. Map's Northern Waters, and we're going to kick this one off with a little bit more 1DD matchmaking and just in general trying to play a destroyer that has subpar concealment when you're the only DD in on your team. So right out of the gate, I'm still gonna head to A cap. I'm not gonna cheap out and just play, the easy cap here, pick this up, and then just gunboat and that kind of thing. I do want to put some pressure and try to get this flipped for my team, because this is a critical cap. Either you've got to commit to one or the other, and in general, I don't like across map pushes, because they get if the enemy team has one battleship that's good and he gets a cross shot position, he's gonna decimate your team, and all it takes is just one guy in a battleship or a cruiser that is a big AP threat, and that's the end of that push. So I do like to take positions where your team will naturally start to get crossfire on the map. Your team will be able to start developing map control from that, and that, I believe, is a better way to win games than some people I've seen some arguments that splitting the map in half, this is better, and it's not really, because usually you're going to end up with all your battleships here, and you got your cruisers and your destroyers more down here. There's no AP crossfire here. These guys can cap A, and then they can push right through the middle. They can even push and tank right into the battleships while they farm out the cruisers and that kind of thing. So if you see what I'm doing here, I'm just using the cap kind of as a screen to make sure that I don't get caught, don't get too deep. I'm looking to see, are there any cruisers here? I should have spotted a cruiser already, so I'm starting to sniff a little bit more aggressively with my angle, as far as here, trying to look further and further around this island before I actually commit to the cap. And we do have we've got two somebodies. So we've got two cruisers. I need to slam on the brakes, because is there an Alaska back there? Is the Fletcher, in front of them? So I'm just pulling back. I want to get into a position of safety, but I also really want to look to see what are these guys going to do. Okay, I'm going to throw some torpedoes. If they head to the point of the island, maybe I can catch somebody with a torpedo. But I'm just looking particularly at this Mogami, because my AP will do a number on this Mogami. So he's pretty broadside to me, and I'm just thinking out loud, looking at the potential opportunities, but I don't see any signs that there's a Fletcher around here. Fletcher has a really fast torpedo load. I should have seen torpedoes popping up through here. So I'm gonna go on ahead and I'm gonna make a gamble that this Fletcher has committed to CCAP. And I'm going to push aggressively in here. I'm rotating my guns. I've got AP loaded. This Mogami, he's giving me too much broadside. It's, you just can't turn this kind of thing up. So, unfortunately, I do a pretty crap job at shooting here, because this guy should have been dead just within a couple volleys, and my damage output, it just isn't great. He's starting to get angled, so it's time to switch back to HE. We have pretty much crippled this Mogami, though. He doesn't have any sort of repairs or anything like that, so we've got that going for us. And also on my French destroyers, I tend to like to run IFHE on them, simply because killing cruisers. It's a faster way to have impact in the battle, in my opinion, than relying on, you know, just fire pressure to force out battleships and, you know, the map control that you gain that way. I did pass up a couple shots at the Fletcher, seeing if I could get any additional damage out on this Mogami before he left gun range. So that's why I didn't get more done on this Fletcher. Now the Fletcher does eat a fire here, but he's still got his damage control, so it doesn't really stick. But the pressure's on, and you can see we've got a big full-on push here. My team's doing a good job following me through. This Mogami, for some reason, is turning back into that smoke, and I'm going to try to make sure that this is going to be the last mistake that he makes this game. And boom, we bag us a Mogami. I switch target back to the Siegfried. Now, I thought that I was going to have more of an opportunity to work this guy, so I am using the main battery reload booster that just came up. But, of course, as soon as I pop it, this guy's going to go dark. And it's unfortunate, but those things happen. I am going to try to throw some terrible blind shots in there. Don't really get too much out of it. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep pushing. My team out here on B-Cap, if you look, you know, they're, you know, 2-on-3 right now. So these guys are at a disadvantage. We need to start bringing some pressure in on these guys quickly if we want to save this flank at all. Now, the Fletcher gets spotted. I'm trying to track this guy because I know what's coming. He's rushing the Alaska. Didn't think that I was going to see him for a bit, but honestly, I wouldn't have been able to save him since I don't have main battery reload booster. He's able to get his torpedoes off, and that's the end of my Alaska. But we trade out for their Fletcher, which is an absolutely critical kill. Without that DD, it's going to be much harder for them to back cap. Now I'm going to make a strategic decision here that we have one crippled Siegfried, we've got a Pommern, we've got a Charles Martel, and a Brindisi. The Martel in particular has got plenty of HP, so does the Brindisi. I'll let these guys deal with the Siegfried. I'm going to go and start putting some pressure on the back of C-Cap. And I spot an enemy Alaska that's full health and is getting ready to start pushing through. And I'm just going to try to occupy this Alaska, take his guns out of the fight against my Georgia. And this is part of that French DD play style, getting out there and really just getting across the map and forcing the enemy team to start reacting to you. So Alaska's popping some shots off. You know, this is the initial, you know, how aggressive can I you know, play against this Alaska? Can he lead a French DD? You know, all of that stuff. So right now I'm playing moderately aggressive right now, and I can see I'm going to take some damage here. Okay, I need to start playing this a little more cautious. So I'm going to start speed juking. I'm really going to start becoming a real menace to try to hit. And yeah, that's just how I'm gonna play this. So you can see starting my speed jukes. Now in hindsight, I probably should have been earlier on the main battery reload booster. I probably could have got both of them off on the Alaska with as long as it takes me to gun down a full health Alaska by myself. And you can see the IFHE does help when I'm hitting the bows and stern. Getting some nice penetration damage there, where without that, I'd just be getting shatters. So I do get another fire there. The fires are also going to help as well. But you can see I backed off about 1.5 kilometers, and this Alaska's really starting to struggle to hit me, and I'm just wearing him down, just relentless. Just a hyena just running down the prey. Popping the reload booster, and mainly doing this because he's chunked down enough that, you know what, even though he didn't repair that fire, let's just get him down before, you know, he's got too many chances to shoot at me, and get this fight over with. I need to get on the cap and start applying pressure, because the enemy team is this game still could be fairly close if the enemy team gets, you know, some lucky shots in. You know, it'd be really rough if, you know, we lost the Martel or the Brindisi, and then my Georgia's 2-on-1. It would be kind of ugly. So getting the Alaska out of the room and picking up C-cap. I see the enemy, Lipatano, or however you say it. I'm not Italian, my pronunciation is terrible. I sink the fat boats, I don't know what to call them. So just keeping him spotted for my team right now, plus me spotting him lets me know where he's at. I'm looking, maybe I can line up some torpedoes if he's trying to rush back to C-cap. And that's what I'm looking at right here, is just getting ready to launch both racks of torpedoes if he goes to push this channel. Looks like he's not, so I'm going, okay, plan B. We're just going to use the guns, and I'm just going to rotate back around and just get in a position where this guy is going to have a hard time wanting to shoot at me. Popping my reload booster right here, just mainly looking to get as much damage on this guy up front as possible. Now unfortunately here the IFHE is really hurting my fire chance, but usually my tool for dealing with battleships is I'm able to keep the cap pressure in my favor, and I'm able to just get in front of the battleships and dump torpedoes in their path, or just YOLO battleships, because I mean this thing is supernaturally fast. So just pushing in here now. This Italian battleship, this is something you got to watch. Watch where their smoke's going, because he's stopped here. He's reversed his course, and he's sailing out. And you can see I'm looking, what is this guy doing? And he's actually turned out and he's sailing in this direction. I'm launching my torpedoes. Maybe I'm thinking maybe he might be turning this way, but no, he's turned back out. And I'm just going to use some of these islands to get some cheeky shots on him. That's why you do it. All of a sudden you end up with a fire on him. Now he's got a conundrum. Does he repair a single fire? Does he let it burn? That's why you take those types of free damage dealing opportunities. So I'm looking to wait. I got 2 fires on the battleship, and I'm waiting until this guy's fully engaged with my Georgia before revealing myself again. I'm looking to see, are these guns going to rotate and shoot at me? If they're not, I'm just going to keep shooting. If they are, I'm going to go ahead, duck back in behind the island. My Georgia's able to put him down, and that's going to pretty much end this game here shortly. So that's the blow by blow for the game. So much comes down to, you know, the initial interaction where you're taking your destroyer with a large or poor concealment, and how the main thing is making sure you're not going to get caught too deep. And when I mean too deep, where you're not able to disengage easily. I would much rather have a slow initial game and just slowly dip my toe into the enemy team, before I just go and shove my whole foot up their butt. You know, I'd much rather have that slow start than risk losing a bunch of HP up front, because it's really tough to come back when you don't have HP to play with in a gunboat, particularly a gunboat without smoke. It's going to be rough. So you need to be cognizant of the limitations of your ship and play around that. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. As always, the build that I used will be in the video description. A link to the community Discord will also be in the video description. And if you find these videos useful, I'm in the process of upgrading computers, microphones, everything, trying to get better quality product for you guys to view. And if you get something out of it, if you've got the money available, you'd like to support the channel, there'll be a link in the Patreon below. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a good night, and I will talk to you later.